Hey, hello.
Nice. She's loud, isn't she? Yeah.
I'm excited for you to
Yeah.
be here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our next skills theory session. And as you can already tell, I've got the super cool Simon with me today, which I'm very excited for. Simon, do you want to tell everyone who you are and your role?
Brilliant. Thanks for that lovely introduction there, Celine. So my name's Simon Gibson. For those that don't know me, I'm currently the talent director at Center Parcs. I'm sure you know what Center Parcs is. Hopefully you do, or you have visited once or twice, and we can talk about that later on. And I'm responsible in a new role for anything from finding, developing, growing, building the relevant skills and capabilities this wonderful company now needs. So that's what brings me to Center Parcs. Been here about a year. Prior to that, I've worked at M&S and I've worked at some other weird and wonderful organisations, which I could also talk about on another time. We might need longer time to talk about
I
that.
know we might need to do a series just to talk about the different places that you've worked, which I think would get good sign up. So yeah, thank you for joining, Simon. For those watching or listening, at Cappfinity, we love Simon for your kind of open, straight talking and also just your capacity to get stuff done. And I think that's why I really wanted to invite you into this series because what I'm seeing more generally is people really grappling with like where to start and what to do because everything's
Mhm.
so volatile at the moment. And it's a tough time. So yeah, really looking forward to getting some nuggets from you around your views on things and then what you're doing that some people might be able to learn from. So,
Great.
to get us started, Center Parcs, as you said, a very wonderful brand. I went there recently. My husband, two boys had a brilliant weekend. You've seen the photos.
I have, yeah.
Making memories for lots of people up and down the country. I know when you started, I couldn't wait to hear from you, like what it's like working there. So, what is it like working at Center Parcs, and what is on the people agenda at the moment?
Yeah, nice. And I'll caveat it. This is Simon's view of the world, right? As I always do. It doesn't mean it's everyone's view of the world. I mean, it's a brilliant company and we've got a brilliant product. And for those that aren't familiar, it's a holiday village where you park the car, you leave that alone for a few days or a week, and pretty much everything you then need is in that environment. And we're really lucky that environment happens to be about a 400 or 500 acre site in a woodland. And, there's deers and there's squirrels and there's fun and there's laughs and there's chaos and there's crazy, but you wouldn't know there's thousands of other people there. And that's probably a bit well linked and nicely linked to what's it like to work at Center Parcs. I think we've got an amazing brand, we've got an amazing team, we've got an amazing opportunity to remain successful, and we are highly successful, but to remain highly successful in a competitive environment. And the world is different, right? Because now you can go on to Airbnb and you can go on to booking.com and you can find an amazing treehouse and it looks amazing. And that's our competition. And that's really interesting in today's world and today's environment of who are you really butting up against and what does that start to look like. But we've got huge opportunities. And in terms of what's on the people agenda and what does that look like, we've got a really clean and simplified people plan, and we're probably in year one.
Mhm.
And some of that's around technology, and some of that's around process, and some of that's predominantly around my world, talent management, people management, organizational development, skills, which obviously we're going to talk to, capabilities, all underpinned or overseen by culture. And I believe we've got a wonderful culture, and some of those things are brilliant, and we really want to protect those. And some of those things are going to need to evolve as we need to evolve in the world of work and the way people expect us to provide our service and our product today. So hopefully that makes some sense to people, but that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And you did mention skills in there. Obviously, that's the focus of the series. So tell us a bit more about how skills is featuring within the agenda and how, if at all, it is a focus.
Yeah, definite focus. And I think there's a really nice story I can start to tell, and hopefully in time. And I'll take any question, right? Should anybody want to
Yeah,
reach out and talk
yeah.
or understand more or,
Open for chatting. Yeah, love it.
yeah, challenge what we're talking about or I've said or shared. But I think there's a really simple place to start, and hopefully this helps some people or gives them food for thought. It's like what makes Center Parcs great.
Mm.
And you kind of go, well, what does that mean? You go, is it the environment you've explained, Simon? Is it the way that people treat you? Is it this amazing swimming pool environment that you have? Is
Mm.
it the fact that we don't have to drive and actually we decompress? And actually, we haven't really done loads of studies, right? But we do know that being in nature for a prolonged period of times is healthy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is a healthy way to react. But the way I looked at that and the way I took that challenge on when I first came in was, well, we can actually codify some of those skills and capabilities, right? We can almost start to work out, and I don't like the term, but it kind of translates, what is that magic?
Yeah.
Like, what is that essence that has made that company brilliant? What is that from a skill and a capability and a trait and a way of working?
Mhm.
And one really simple way we could have done that, although it is quite complex, is obviously to assess those skills and capabilities of our senior leadership group or our management team, and that's what started that conversation with obviously Cappfinity and what we've spoken about and some of the work that we're now continuing to uncover and look at.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember speaking about that with you a few months back and you describing the magic. And I think that that's a tricky one to do, right? Getting that magic down on paper. But I think for the continuity of the success and the evolving of the success, it was very clear that that was important to do.
Yeah, I think there's a real, I'm not breaking anyone's confidence, right, but there's an amazing trait that's come out. So as a result of that work, we assessed what, over 100 people
Yeah,
on a framework of about 80 odd skills, capabilities,
yeah,
definitions, TBC, but it kind of does what it says on the tin. Number one skill for my company and the people leading my company was humility.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's amazing, right? It is absolutely amazing. We're really understated. We are really reserved. We are brilliant, absolutely amazing at running that type of environment and that product that we have. And we just don't talk about it.
mm. Yeah, yeah, and to run it with such efficacy as well. I think that's the experience when you're in one of the villages, is it's you can kind of see that echoed. It's like all the hard work. It's so behind the scenes, it feels
Yeah,
like.
just
It's
hidden,
this
just
ma
hidden.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just this magic thing that looks like
Yeah.
it's effortless, but must take so much effort actually to make happen. Okay, so tell us a little bit more then about the work you're doing in the space of investing in skills and helping people understand their skills. So why tell us a bit more about why it was important to help these leaders understand their skills and what you've done.
Yeah, nice. I think what the why was it important is again quite simplistic, but it's open to interpretation and a bit of challenge. Is so what is it that we've got, right? And that would be my like top, number one tip.
Yep.
Really simply, just go work out what have you got. Do you understand the makeup of your company, the skills, the capabilities, the trade? It's real. Working companies are really complex. Doesn't
Yep.
matter whether you're big, small, giant, it doesn't matter, right? There's loads of nuances around people, ways of working, and that intangible element of culture. The conversation I started with our senior leadership team and the support of my chief people officer was, well, actually, I think we can codify some of that.
Yep.
And if we can codify that and we can kind of understand where that bar is or metaphoric bar, then we can start to have conversations about how far above that do we want to go? What does the makeup of that start to look like? Actually, where do we want to go in the future? If you've understood our business context, so
Mm.
step two on my magic top tip is understand where you're going, right? What have you got today and where do you want to get to?
Yep.
Well, and now these things do take time. You can't have that in a 2 minute conversation,
Mm.
but there are tools and ways of working and elements for you to add together to go, well, I've understood where we're at, I've understood where we're going.
Yep.
Crikey, we've got a gap,
Yes.
right? And,
Yes.
and obviously, you can then translate that into, well, and this happens everywhere, right? Everywhere on the planet. And we'll have to have a little bit of a touch on AI and how that's going to disrupt and help or support. But, everybody wants the best possible people they can to do the jobs that they've got,
Yep.
but we're not really looking at the jobs, are we? Right? Because we're kind of replacing people like for like, and I'm generalizing. So you kind of go, well, what is the job we really want people to do?
Yep.
Or you could look at it a slightly different way and go, what are the strengths and the capabilities you've got? How
Yep.
do you best play to those more of the time?
Yep.
And what opportunities does that open up?
Yep. Yep.
Because then suddenly that's slightly different, isn't it? That's not talking about jobs. That's talking about people. That's talking about skills. That's talking about your ability to do those things. Yeah, you might have thousands. We've got thousands of jobs,
Yeah.
thousands. And there'll be companies that have tens of thousands of jobs that are a variety of difference. So I suppose my point was just trying to help us understand if we can codify it and starting having collective pictures on what are our strengths, Where do we play well? Where do we play less well?
Yeah.
Actually, then we can start to talk about, well, how do we play well more of the time?
Yeah.
Not all of the time, because we're not robots, right?
Yeah.
And then there's grown up conversations to be had. Is that, do we invest in that skill, or do we go and get it from the marketplace? Do we
Yeah.
need to get it from the marketplace? Do we
Yeah.
borrow it for a period of time? Do we, oh, we found someone who had that skill, who didn't know had that skill,
Yeah.
who can really help us over here? It's easy. I think it's easy to talk about, hard in practice.
Yeah, hard in practice. And I think what's been great about, what you and the team have done over the last few months is you've pushed for that data. So even when you were sharing about the humility, and even knowing that that's not necessarily a trend that will last a lifetime. It's data in a particular point of time, but you've got the data, so you've got that data in that language. Like, has that just been really helpful to have
Yeah,
that in?
yeah. I can't overemphasize enough. And interestingly, I came from a meeting this week, and we used exactly the same data.
Yeah.
What have we got? Where do we play well? We've got collective team pictures now that
Yeah.
all of my senior op board members now have, that really start to give us something to anchor. It's fact based, right?
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and this is in a world where there's lots of opinions, and I don't think he's that, and I don't think she's that. Yeah, that's great, right? Here's the strengths that you've got. Here's our business plan. We've got a really clear business plan, strategy. It kind of rolls into multi-year. I'm sure many other companies have, but it is really, I feel, and I can see that it's driving different conversations already.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that echoes what I'm seeing more broadly around when there's kind of so much at stake and everything feels quite wobbly in across lots of industries. It feels like there's this constant back and forth, like hypothesizing what's happening, and everyone's got their view, which is valid, but actually trying to move then that team to action feels really hard because you're spending so much time playing tennis over actually what's going on. So getting some data is absolutely helpful. What about the data being useful for the business and the team? What about from an individual perspective? What have you seen be the impact of helping people see their skills and strengths and get some language around that?
Yeah, and again, language is a really important thing. The phraseology and the words. My joke around, they've got, what is humility? You can kind of go, well, I get that, I understand it is what it says on the tin, and that's how I think mission simplify wins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's clean and it's simple and it's easy enough to understand. One of the first sessions I did, which was to tell people to pick up that report and just read it a few times.
yeah, yeah,
And when you think you've read it, maybe put it down for a few days, pick it up and read it again.
yeah,
And the power that that's had around how people perceive themselves, or how they're showing up as an individual, how they're showing up or being perceived as running a team, and or their contribution to running our business. Now, you don't have to be an expert in frameworks, but individual self business is pretty clear. It's as old as time,
yeah,
of kind of how those facets come together. I think it's really valuable, really. And lots of people, no disrespect to anyone, lots of people have never had that type of insight before.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Here's how I play well, and here's how I play less well. But here's how I play well when I run my tip. Actually, I didn't really know that. No one sat me down, back to your point at the start,
yeah,
and said, in this weird and wonderful world of work, this is how you turn up and influence what the business does.
yeah, exactly.
Simon, I've just closed. Funny enough, I just closed my report down before coming on this call. So
Won't make you share it.
yeah, I can share it. I don't mind, right? Yeah.
I'm joking. So that's really, really, really helpful. I'm going to divert slightly from the plan for today, which you could see coming a mile off. But while I have you, I feel like I can't resist asking you for tips on for people to kind of just take the leap and do the work, do the project, do the pilot. Because as I say, I see a lot of people really grappling with that at the moment. And this isn't a new thing for you to come in and do something that feels reasonably kind of brave. So you've done it over your career and in different roles as well. What advice have you got for people to do that?
Yeah, be more brave. Yeah. Hey, look, I think that there's the simple advice I've got is, try the thing, start a thing, find somewhere, unearth it. I think my equation is really simple. What have you got
Mhm.
today? What do you think you need tomorrow?
Yes.
And then you've got some evidence, some data, some form of hypothesis, but it's actually evidence based, to then have a debate. Are we going to go build that? Are we going to invest in that? Are we going to automate that? Are we going to look at AI agents, right, to replace
Yeah.
that? Because
Yeah.
that adds value somewhere else.
Hmm.
And the reason I say that is there's plenty of people, and I'm probably one of them, right, that would give you the time and the energy to go, well, what are you thinking of doing? Here's what I've done. I'm not saying I've got the right answer, but if you're trying to move your organization's performance, it doesn't matter what you do,
Mm, mm.
and you want to contribute to people's skills and capabilities, you're going to have to start somewhere. And theory only gets you so far,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Hallelujah. Yes.
And you can only write that down so many times on pieces of paper or make a guess. What you could do is kind of go, well, actually, I've got hard evidence on 106 people. We look like this. We play well there. We play less well there. I think we're going there.
Mm,
That means this. What do
mm.
you want to
Yeah.
do
And
or not?
what are you saying to your colleagues in different organizations where you've got this kind of work over the line? What's the kind of pattern that you're using beyond what you just said around the structure of the kind of work? Are you leaning into like, let's just do it, let's get some, it doesn't, we can flex it, we can learn. Like, what's the kind of stuff that you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and one funny enough, I've had a meeting this morning around how it's always funny how people give you feedback on how you're perceived, right? And what you do and what you do well. And I'm going, I don't think I do that. Well, that's just what I do, right? So
That's a strength. It's a
it,
strength. Yeah.
and that's the point, isn't it? People are trying to codify what you do. So how do we codify so we could do that?
Yeah.
The bit I would say about companies, and many companies I've been in, and the bit I didn't give in my ramble at the start is I've never been in the same sector twice, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I can kind of see similarities of what we're trying to do. It's just at different stages of maturity. What it's going to take us a long time at Center Parcs to shift that dial and shift that needle. But I've done things in the first 12 months that they haven't done in 5 years, right? That's not, oh, aren't you brilliant, Simon? No, no, no. That's just the energy where I went and found the pain point and put my maximum energy and effort to go, I think I can move that.
Okay.
And if
Nice.
I can move that,
Yeah.
and
Nice.
it's a bit like if this, then that, other things start to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got a relative plan on the page. It goes, well, there's 3 years' work, right? Roughly. My experience tells me that. All my insight and inkling tells me that. The industry tells me that.
Mm.
But in other organisations, that's taken longer or it's been quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the bit I can't quite balance is what I'm trying to share is at some point you're going to have to take a leap of faith.
Mhm.
We just happen to be talking about this, right? It could be about technology. It could be about a team. It could be about a way of working. The bit that gets me currency though is it adds value to the business. This isn't a nice to.
Mhm.
This is what we need to do to move our dial. This is what we need to do to become more productive, to become more. I'm not a capitalist pig, right? But we don't work for a charity. It's not free. It's not nice. People come to our environment for the most amazing experiences. How nice is that? I've worked in insurance. That's not nice, right? You have to buy insurance. But I
Totally.
was doing things that moved the needle on skills and capabilities because guess what? That whole world ecosystem is radically disrupted by technology and AI.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to understand some of those points. And I think in some ways, what am I kind of getting at is you're just going to have to be a bit light about it. We're going to try something. It might not work, right?
And that's okay. But at least we're doing something. That's the
But
point.
it's forward,
Yeah.
and it's not stasis, and it's not status quo, or it's
Yeah.
not if this then that maybe. It's not hypothesis. It's not
Yeah.
theory. It's let's try something.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Okay. Final question. And again, this is off piste, but I attended a couple of dinners a couple of weeks ago. They were both brilliant. I was invited along to them. They were they were nights that followed each other. So actually one night and then the next night, the next. Both dinners with completely different audiences had two topics that just kept coming up, skills and AI, skills and AI. What's your soundbite? What's your view? Big question to finish on skills and AI. Like, where do you think, how are you feeling about where we're headed with it all? Like, what's your view? Big question. What's your
Yeah, I
view?
like that. Good one to close on. Yeah, quick, like drops the mic, runs off. I think I'm fascinated. Funny enough, I was just looking at an online community around how are you upskilling your leaders on AI and how are you doing them. And again, it's counter to what we've just spent 20 minutes talking about. I'm like, go find out where they're at. Go
Yes.
find out who's geeking off with the thing. Go find out. I've done it internally, right? I'll tell you one now. There's like as you know, in our world, corporate world, PowerPoint presentation. I ain't wasting any time on that, right? There is a load of brilliant tools
Yeah.
that are going to do that a billion times better.
Mhm.
And I go, this, and then people go, how did you do that? I go, oh, I use this. right? Whether I'm breaking a rule or not, caveat, right? Please don't shoot me, anyone. There's no confidential information in that.
Yeah, you've got to use
Um,
tools.
I think you cannot ignore, you are foolish, you're ostrich, your head in the sand if you think AI is not going to disrupt your world and your industry and ways of work. I am fascinated because in terms of productivity, that in this country alone, I know there'll be people outside of this country listening, but in this country alone, it has a massive opportunity to shift the dial on desk-based, sometimes task-based work.
Mm-hmm.
Go find out what your people are doing, aren't doing. Find out what's working and not working, and maybe see if you can do something with that. Because if you think it's going to be the computer says no and the fun police and we're going to lock all that down, then you're living in la la land.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah. And
That's not.
yeah, and I love this sense of going again, this like where's the energy? Like who's using it? Because we see that in every organization that, you've got some people that will go, I've been using this for 3 years. Like everyone's talking about this like it's new,
Yeah.
but I've been using it for years, like really hardened great people using it. And then there are some people that are more reticent. And so it's about leaning into that individuality, and trying to equip people, I think, to be able to use it in the best way to
Yeah,
make
and you can. Yeah, and exactly that, right? And I'll leave the soundbite if it helps. But AI literacy, digital literacy, data literacy, they have been hot topics in this country for 15, 20 years.
yeah,
We're in a sector and an industry that spends billions of pounds that's being told the skills gap's growing. I'm like, we've done something wrong.
yeah, I know.
You've been spending money in the wrong place, and I'm part of that group, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully, most cases I haven't, but there is a direct correlation to that is a skill in itself. To use that thing, to use that tool is going to be a skill.
Yeah,
So go
exactly.
work out how your company is going to make best use of that, or be involved in the group because they probably already are,
Hmm.
who are making best use of that. To your point, and go,
Hmm.
let's go try some stuff, and then let's go see if we can work that out. What are the traits of the people that are using that starting to look like? Because that looks like we're going to need more of that tomorrow, whenever tomorrow is in your company.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Simon, for bringing your inimitable energy to the discussion again. Absolute pleasure. So if anyone wants to reach out to Simon, Simon's tagged in the post. I know from experience, Simon, that you're always keen, as you said before, to chat with people. So open invite. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing about what's next in the Center Parcs journey and the great work you're doing. But for now, thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Celine. Appreciate that.
Bye.